I was really unhappy and completely unfulfilled, but I had no idea what to do about it, or once I thought I had an idea, I would get too scared to execute the idea. And so I stayed in Seattle for 12 years. And like the last 3 years, I was just absolutely miserable and had many moments of looking in the mirror where I was just like, this cannot be it. There has got to be more. Like, I know that I am meant to do so much more in life, and this cannot be what I'm here for.
That's Shannon Whaley, and I'm super excited to share her story with you today. It's a story of how she learned to honor her sense of adventure and take determined steps toward a more fulfilling life. Shannon, also known as the Traveling Wild Woman, is a storytelling and marketing coach for coaches, healers, consultants, and online business owners. Personally, as a fellow coach and business owner, I love Shannon's example of showing up in the world authentically, including on social media. She's real, fiery, and honest. Originally from Southern California, Shannon was living in Seattle when she made her first leap. Convinced that she needed to stir things up, she said goodbye to life as she knew it and moved to the Cayman Islands. Her next leap was moving to Lucca in Tuscany, Italy. Along the way, she got sober, started her own business, and finally discovered the life and work that's right for her. This is Leap Like Me, and I'm your host, Lisa Hawashi. This show is about the leaps people take to make the most of this amazing life. Shannon, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So to get started, I would really like you to sort of paint the scene for us right now of where you are in the world and a little bit about what your life is like.
So I am currently living in Lucca, Italy, which is a 20-minute train ride from Pisa. And I am living here with my fiance, and we have 2 kittens, and I work from home. So I'm here with the cats all day, working as a coach and a coach trainer. So I get to, I work I work only online. So talk to women. That's how we met. I talk to women online all day, and yeah, I get to help women share their stories and market their businesses.
To get into the story of your leap, and if we were to sort of break it into beginning, middle, and end, how would you describe the beginning to us? What was going on?
There's the couple big leaps that I took. So my first was when I actually moved overseas in 2013 to the Cayman Islands. And then the second big leap was to Italy in 2017. So the first leap that I took which was what really transformed my life, was when I was living in Seattle and I was working as a hairstylist. I was a waitress. I was doing stand-up comedy, actually, most days of the week, and drinking and partying and just kind of living the, party girl lifestyle. And I was just like, up until that point, like I had gone to college. I had done all the things that I was supposed to be doing. I had had this career as a counselor and then a career as a hairstylist. And I was just like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was really unhappy and completely unfulfilled, but I had no idea what to do about it. Or once I thought I had an idea, I would get too scared to execute the idea. And so I stayed in Seattle for 12 years. And like the last 3 years, I was just absolutely miserable and had many moments of looking in the mirror where I was just like, this cannot be it. There has got to be more. Like, I know that I am meant to do so much more in life, and this cannot be what I'm here for. So that was the beginning. Yeah.
And what spurred you to action? Like, what was actually the moment?
moment. I just came to the realization that I either needed to actually do something about it or I needed to shut up. I was just really getting sick of my own story. I can't imagine like my friends were like, God, is she talking about this again? But it really got to the moment where I was just like, I either need to put this into action or I need to just suck it up and then this is my life.
And
And so
what would
find
you keep talking about? Like, what was the story that you felt
I
like your
hate
friends were
the
getting sick of?
totally. Um I hate the rain. I hate, I was doing the same thing over and over. My life consisted of just like monotonous, unfulfilling activities. Like I didn't really travel. Not I didn't really. I wasn't traveling. Um, I was always complaining about money, even though I had money. I wanted like a more adventurous life. I wanted a more interesting life. And yeah, I was paralyzed by fear to make it happen.
I can really relate to that feeling of like the broken record. I think in the
Hmm.
end, like a big thing that got me out the door is I was so sick of hearing myself.
Just say like the same stuff like over and over.
Yeah.
And I was I was just really sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, I was also drinking, like I said, and partying on the weekends. And so I was just like, I was sick of being hungover. I was sick of always not feeling well. I was sick of the shitty friends that I had. And, that I had surrounded myself with people who were just doing the same stuff as I was. And it was like not interesting. I was like, I want an interesting life. This isn't it. How do I fix this?
So, what was the solution that did come up for you?
Well, I figured, okay, so I'll move to San Diego, which even though I grew up like 50 miles north of San Diego, I felt like I was still moving back home. But I was like, well, it's better than staying in Seattle. So I had made the decision to make that happen. And then I was talking to a friend uh, who said, well, why don't you just go visit our friend in the Cayman Islands while you're on vacation or while you're in between locations? So moving from San Diego. And so a week vacation turned into a couple weeks, which turned into a month. And he was like, well, if you're going to be here for a month, why don't we just find you a job? And I was like, what? This is like the break I've been looking for. And he said, yeah, you can just move in with me and stay with me for free until you get on your feet. And I was like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. So I took it.
So, at the time that you left Seattle, it wasn't necessarily a sabbatical, maybe in your mind. How did you, yeah, how did you feel? Like, what did you feel like you were about to do, or what was going on in your mind at that point?
I just knew that I'm like a go big or go home person. So I needed something just like so drastic to just really shake my life up. I had tried the little steps like, oh, I moved to this city. I was still in like the Seattle area, but I went and visited Hawaii for a couple weeks and that was fun. Like, so I had like done little things, but I always came back to doing the same thing and the same story. And I knew for me, I needed something like just really drastic to shake my life up. Like it just felt like I was like taking myself by the shoulders and just like shaking myself, being like, okay, it's time. This is it. This is your opportunity.
So, when you arrived in the Cayman Islands, how did that feel for you?
I was like equal parts terrified and excited. Again, I had never even been to the Cayman Islands. I honestly didn't know where I was moving to until I looked it up on the map, like on Google Maps. Um, so it was definitely culture shock, not as bad as when I moved to Italy because they speak English there, but um, it's just island living is completely different than normal living. And just the change of pace, the way of life. I was, there's lots of immigrants and expats there. who had all taken this leap. So it was really interesting to be surrounded by, everybody that you met had taken this leap as well. So it was interesting being around all of those people, which I had never experienced before.
And how did that influence your own perception of your leap?
It kind of minimized it because it wasn't as big of a deal. Like everyone's like, yeah, we all did that. And so, so I was like, okay, it wasn't but like in my small group of friends, like doing something like that was like completely unheard of. Like, myself included, was like, who just picks up and sells everything and moves to a Caribbean island? But then all the friends that you make on the island all did that thing. They all sold all their stuff and moved to this island. So it really just put into perspective, like, just depends on who you're talking to and who you're surrounding yourself with.
So there's like this real contrast between how you're feeling about this decision, like in your old context, and then how it felt in a totally new context.
It made it like, it was like no longer a big deal.
And can you describe a little bit, you mentioned before when we talked, like how big of a deal this got for you before you left. Can you describe a little bit about what that felt like?
So I went to the ER a couple of times because apparently I'm allergic to stress and my body reacts in a quite interesting way, which my face exploded with hives, and my face was so swollen that I was unrecognizable. And I was worried that my throat was going to close because it was moving down. Like my eyes were like they were almost closed completely shut. And it was moving down my face. So I was like, if this gets to my mouth and my throat, then we have a problem. They wanted me to buy an EpiPen in case it happened. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But it was anxiety. And it's happened a couple times since, but never as intense as it did right before. Like I even got on the plane still having the effects of my anxiety attack. So
was this really happening like in the weeks leading right up to your departure, or was it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it started happening a couple months, and then a couple days, like a week before I was to leave, it happened. So I was in bed. Like, well, I'm supposed to be like saying bye to friends and enjoying, like I went down to San Diego to see my best friend to say bye. And I was in bed because, I couldn't go out in public. So my pictures when I landed on the island, like my eyes are still puffy, and like underneath there's just like, you can see all the redness. And there was even a point where I was thinking, should I go? I'm not going to have medical coverage there. What if something happens? So this was like one more what if that was piled on my list of what ifs could go wrong. And and I was like, no, you're not letting this, like, if this kills you, you're getting to the island. But I was just determined. I was like, I am not, and I didn't have anywhere to go. Like I had, I wasn't renting my house anymore. I didn't have my car. I didn't have anything. Like I had nothing. So I was like, I really have nothing to go back to. So I have to go to the island.
I think this is kind of one of the most surprising things for people who, make the decision to make a leap, and then they are so surprised by the kind of roller coaster that still happens. Like we think that after we make a decision, we're going to feel really good about it. And we hear advice of just like, go with your gut, but like, what if you're breaking into hives? Like, that's kind of like a signal of like, don't do it. Right. But if you were to really take it at face value, but it really becomes, a roller coaster. You kind of have to ride it and like keep trusting yourself and the decision you've made and see where it goes, it seems like.
Absolutely. I think it's just really like, it's really minimized how scary it is. And I'm guilty of this too, until I was like, no, people need to actually know the truth about what happens. But people really like gloss over that of like, follow your dreams, but they don't tell you that your dreams are going to like scare the shit out of you and try to derail you and
Make you
make you
break out
think
in hives
that
sometimes.
put you in the ER. Absolutely.
What happened after? So you arrive at the Cayman Islands. You're starting to get set up and be like, oh my God, I'm really going to do this and get a job. So kind of what happens at the Cayman Islands? Like when do things kind of start settling in for you, or, what things do you start learning?
So I realized quickly that, and we know this, but I thought, well, I'll leave my drinking and my troubled drug and alcohol fueled past. That was like Seattle and the people that I was surrounding myself with. And so I realized real quick that our problems and issues come with us. We pack them up with all our stuff. So one thing that became very apparent moving to this party island where people, there's something going on every night. People are drinking. That's just the lifestyle. That getting sober is definitely not, it was not on my list of things to do after moving to the island. But that's what I realized really quickly needed to happen, was that if this was going to work out, I was going to need to quit drinking. And so 6 months after I moved there, decided, okay, this is the time. So October 7th it's my sobriety date, 2013. And I just knew that if I wanted to keep traveling, if I wanted to do the things in my life that I wanted to be doing, and become the person that I wanted to become, that I was going to have to remove any sort of substances from my life. So that's when the clouds parted and I had so much more clarity around what I wanted to be doing. And I was a waitress in a sushi restaurant and then a waitress in a yacht club, and realized that I wanted to be a coach. And so I went through coach training, and I would have never have been able to do that had I still been washing up on the beach. So that was just like my aha moment. I mean, there were a couple events that happened that were like wake up moments. And just, it was all piled together of like, look, this is what needs to happen. So, and I had spent so much money and put so much time into getting there that I was like, what am I going to do? Go home and have to go to treatment, or go home and be like, oh, I couldn't handle it. I was drinking too much and I needed to leave. I was like, no, why not just like cut out the problem and stay here? So that's what I realized I had to do.
And can you go into a little bit more detail about what you were realizing about what you did want?
Absolutely. So I knew, like, as far as what I wanted to be doing, I didn't want to be working in the restaurant industry anymore. I had been done with the industry for years and years, but didn't know what else to do. And so I started reading as many books as I could, like the personal development books, and just started thinking about, okay, what would sound fun? Like, what would my dream life look like? And, how can I get paid to do that? And so I just started writing down, getting paid to tell my story and helping people figure out their own dreams and accomplishing their goals, getting paid to write and to just be me. Like, I was like, how do I just get paid to be me and have fun? And so what kept coming back, and I went through a yoga teacher training because I thought, well, maybe I'll be a yoga instructor. And then I shattered my wrist. So that went out the window real fast. And so it just kept coming back to coaching and helping people really share their stories with the world, and kind of morphed into what I'm doing now. But I I knew that what I was doing, just it wasn't fulfilling, and it was time to figure out what that thing was. So I didn't know that this was how things were going to plan out or pan out, but all I knew was how I wanted to feel. And I read the desire map where Danielle Laporte really focuses on like, how do you want to feel? What do you want? Rather than like looking at specific goals. So I just kept coming back to that of like, I want to have fun. I want to get paid to have fun. I want to get paid to inspire people and share my story. So this all just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm. Things started clicking, falling into place.
Mm-hmm. The people show up and, you start asking for, well, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. So I was just like, more people were reaching out to me, and I was meeting different people and reading different books. And so just taking it all in as much as I could. I think the pivotal point for me was just like, I'm a huge fan of vision boards. Like I'm looking at my vision board right now of the, pictures of where I want to go, what I want my dream house to look like. And so I started doing vision boards and just like saying to myself, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I know that it's possible. And I know it's possible because other people did it. So if other people can do it, then why can't I do it? Was always my thinking. And that's still like when I'm doing my mindset work, like, I don't know how that this is going to happen. I just know that it will. And just holding on to that. So like lots of journaling, lots of writing out affirmations and powerful statements and that sort of thing, just to shift the limiting beliefs, because those will just derail you. I mean, they derailed me for years. And it wasn't until I started thinking of things, reading more of the personal development stuff and learning about the power of positive thinking. And in fact, you don't know how things are going to work out. Like I could have never predicted that I was going to shatter my wrist, right? Like, but that completely changed the trajectory of my life. I had a settlement from it, made a lot of money that really, it completely changed things. So you can't factor in a lot of what's actually going to happen. You can just kind of point your compass and say like, this is what I want, universe, help me, or, this or better. Like I want this thing, or make it better, and just make it happen, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I really like that, focusing on how you want to feel. I think my own version of that was thinking about like who I really wanted to be, or I felt called to be. So similar in some ways, like that yours was, you want to have fun. It's like you want to be an adventurous person who's really enjoying life. Like that's who you want to be. The second big leap that you made, the more recent one, how did that come about?
So my boyfriend and I were having trouble, and it wasn't feeling like, I knew that the relationship wasn't going to be, a forever situation. And I had told my best friend, if this doesn't work out, or when we break up, I am moving to Italy. And so we broke up, and I was like, oh God, I have to figure this out now. And so that was in February of 2017. And so I just was like, and I had already kind of had a plan. Like I hadn't necessarily been looking at schools, but I was like, I know what my next move is going to be, because I didn't want to move back to the US. And so I just immediately started looking for schools online. And again, like everything just started to line up. I had a friend who lived here in Florence, and she had mentioned moving to Lucca, which was the name of my favorite restaurant in the Cayman Islands. And so I was like, yep, it's a sign. We're moving to Lucca. And my visa went through for school. And so I moved here at the end of April. So I started school in May of last year. And it was just all of the what ifs were less, but there were still some. But because I had taken that initial, I was like, this is not a big deal. Like, I made the leap from the US to Cayman once. Like, I did it once, I could do it again. So while it was still scary, it wasn't like as scary as that initial move.
What do you think changed for you? Like, do you think people get better at it? Does it get easier?
I do. Well, it's just like flexing a muscle, right? So even though, I was in on the island for 4 years, it was still pretty fresh. And to be honest, I never felt like the island was my permanent home. So I always knew in the back of my head, I'm going to have to be taking another big leap again. And so I think that helped, that I kind of had it on my radar that this was going to happen again. But yeah, it's flexing a muscle. And I had taken smaller leaps in between that. I think that's a big thing too. Like, people take a big leap and then they just like settle into life. So for instance, like when I had left college and moved to Seattle, like that was a huge leap. I graduated and I went to school in Northern California and then went up and moved to Seattle. And then I sat there for 12 years. Like, I made a leap and then didn't do anything, versus when I moved to the Cayman Islands, I made that big leap and then made the leap to start my own business, and then had also traveled solo and had come actually to Italy for a couple weeks for a retreat. So I had done like scary things in between. Starting coach training was scary because I didn't know what to expect. And so I was kind of like flexing the leap muscle. And so it made the move from the island to Italy less intense. Like, I was waiting honestly for my face to blow up, and it never happened. And I was like, yes, I'm getting better at this.
3 questions in conclusion. So the first question I have for you is, what do you wish you had known before you took your leap?
So Marie Forleo, who's one of the self-help personal development people that I had read and started following. She said,
I love her.
She's amazing.
I'm a fan too.
She says everything is figure outable. And when I heard her give that presentation, I was like, oh God, I wish I had known this. But like, all of my what ifs were completely figure outable. And so looking back now, I wish that I had written all of my fears and what ifs down, and then written out what I would do if that were to happen. So what if I can't find a job? Well, then you move back to San Diego and you find a job there and you figure out, like, so if I could have referred to that list and gotten all of my limiting beliefs out and all of my thoughts out, and then had like an action plan, because that's how my brain works, versus I just let them ping pong through my head. And it just kept me, I think that was probably what was bringing up more anxiety, was like, I was just like, what if this happens? What if that happens? But not doing anything about the what if. So now I realize how important mindset is, and working through the limiting beliefs that keep us stuck in playing small. And so that was one thing I really wish that I had known ahead of time.
What was the most unexpected thing that came out of your leap?
My fiance. I was only living in Italy for about 2 months, and I was definitely not expecting to meet him or I never thought I'd get married again. So I'm still a bit surprised.
Congratulations. Can you give us one detail about him?
He's an amazing cook.
And is he Italian?
Typical. Yeah, he is.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting. For someone who's thinking of taking a similar risk, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
My biggest thing that I always tell people is to surround yourself with people who've also taken leaps, who are living lives that you're really jealous of and are envious of, because those are the people who are going to inspire you and cheer you on. If you can, find them in real life. But if you don't have anybody in real life, then that's what the internet's for. So joining different communities, travel groups for your demographic, whatever you need to do. But the one thing that I did, and the worst thing that you can do, is telling your big ideas to your well-meaning but small-minded friends and family who want to keep you safe and want to keep you out of harm. And they might convince you that you're crazy or this is insane, you shouldn't go. So find people who fan your flames, not who rain on them.
Love that. That's so important. So Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful to hear your story. If people want to stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
I love it. So I am across the internet at Traveling Wild Woman. So you can go to travelingwildwoman.com, and I have different blog posts and business and travel blog posts up there as well with my story. And then I have the Traveling Wild Woman coaching community as well. So I'd love to invite people to join us over there, and Traveling Wild Woman on Instagram. So just all over the place.
Fantastic.
Traveling with one L because I'm American.
All right. Well, thank you so much again.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you for listening to Leap Like Me this week. Don't forget that you can head over to lisahawashi.com for more about Shannon. She's shared some photos from her journey, as well as some additional resources and ways to be in touch with her. If you're enjoying the show, we sure would appreciate it if you leave us a rating or a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And also spread the word among your friends and family. In these super early days of our podcast, since we've just launched it, this support is so important to us. So thanks for your help. If you're working on your own leap and you'd like some support, we're here for you. Join the Leap Like Me community on Facebook or reach out to me directly at lisahawashi.com or by sending me a message on social media at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Have a great week, and thanks for listening to Leap Like Me.